Hello, I'm going to first discuss my professional journey in education and why I decided to choose this position as Educational Consultant Early Literacy at the ESC. So, my educational journey began at Hanover College, where I received my bachelor's in elementary education. After graduating from Hanover in 2003, I became a second grade teacher at St. John the Baptist Elementary School in Coleraine Township. I have been there my whole teaching career, but while I was a classroom teacher, I spent 10 years as a second grade teacher and a third grade teacher with 5 years in each grade. And during my time at St. John's as a classroom teacher, I grew my knowledge of literacy. So after my first year of teaching, I went back to Xavier University to receive my graduate degree in reading education along with the reading endorsement to become a reading specialist. So after receiving that, I remained at St. John's, obviously, and I taught, like I said, second grade and then third grade for each 5 years. And during my time there, I did a few trainings that again broadened my knowledge of teaching literacy. So I first took a training, it was a 10-day training at Springer School, and it was the multisensory approach to reading success. And that was what really kind of got me interested in Orton Gillingham, because part of that training was introducing us to the Orton Gillingham method of teaching struggling readers. After that training, probably a few years later, I received Brain Spring's 5-day, 40-hour training for their Orton Gillingham program. And both of those trainings really opened my eyes to how children learn to read, that we are not born reading, but we need to be taught how to read. So throughout my time at St. John's, I each year, of course, bettered my teaching of literacy. I used what I learned in my trainings and applied it in my classroom. And after applying the principles of Orton Gillingham, I saw my students really take off with their reading and spelling and writing skills. So then kind of fast forward to about 10 years ago when my son was born and I wanted to have part-time work. So that was when I became employed by Hamilton County as a reading specialist. And I was a reading specialist at St. Brendan, still am a reading specialist at St. John's. So for my whole teaching career, I have been at the same school at St. John's Elementary School. And as a reading specialist, I provide reading instruction or reading intervention for students who are below benchmark. And we use the DIBELS assessment to determine those students. And I've been a reading specialist for students in grades, mostly K-4, but I've also had groups of 5th graders and 7th graders. And during this time as a reading specialist, I have really increased my knowledge of literacy. I've done a lot of self-learning, so I've read many books. The one that really opened my eyes was Overcoming Dyslexia, and that was probably the book that really spurred my interest in wanting to learn more about literacy and how to better meet the needs of these struggling readers. So back in 2020, I began my education at Mount St. Joseph. I decided after reading these books and just doing a few webinars that I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more about how to teach literacy and become more of an expert in the field. So I am currently enrolled in the Mount St. Joseph Dyslexia Certification Program, and I'm almost finished with that. Throughout that coursework, we have received letters training, and also I did a year-long Orton Gillingham practicum, and that was amazing in teaching and helping me develop my skills as an Orton Gillingham practitioner. And also during that time, I really started to realize that I have a lot of knowledge and that I really like helping other people, not just students, but also adults, learn how to better their practice through like the teachers that I work with and also the principal at my school. So after, at the end of last year, so in 2021, that summer, one of my professors at Mount St. Joseph approached me and asked if I would like to become a supervisor for Mount St. Joseph to supervise graduate students during their Orton Gillingham practicum. And of course, I said yes. And so that has been an amazing opportunity for me. I really enjoy supervising and coaching the Orton Gillingham or the students that are going through the Orton Gillingham practicum. That has been very enriching and satisfying for me to really help adults, to help teachers better their practice. So that position as a supervisor has really gotten me thinking that I want to take my teaching and learning to a different level, that I want to be working with teachers and administrators on how to better their literacy instruction, their teaching, and their learning. So that is what brought me to apply for this position as an early literacy educational consultant at the ESC. It's just that like I said, I want to take my learning on a new level and share it with others, providing professional development and coaching on how to improve literacy practices so that all students can succeed in reading. So now I'm going to move on to the next question, which was to describe exceptional teaching and learning from the lens of a teacher, a student, and an administrative observer. So first, for the teacher, teachers are lifelong learners. They should constantly be seeking ways to improve their practice, whether it's through professional development, through observing other teachers, but teachers should always be learning about what they're teaching so that they can teach better, because when we know better, we certainly do better. Exceptional teachers teach in a way that is explicit, systematic, and diagnostic and prescriptive, meaning that their teaching is explicit. Nothing is left to chance. Students know exactly what is expected of them and what they are going to learn in the lesson. Their teaching is systematic in that it starts with easier concepts that build upon each other, getting to increasingly more complex concepts. Teaching is diagnostic in that teachers progress monitor and use that data to adjust their instruction. And then finally, it is prescriptive in that teachers use the data to personalize their lessons, to differentiate the lessons for small groups of students, but then also to personalize them so that each student's needs are met within the classroom. Also, exceptional teachers teach in a variety of ways. They use whole group instruction, they use small group instruction, they use one-on-one instruction so that the needs of all students are met. And when it comes to using the standards to guide instruction, teachers also look at the standards. They unpack the standards to figure out, okay, what things do my students need to learn how to do to tackle this standard and to achieve the learning of this standard. So now moving on to exceptional teaching and learning through the lens of the student. Well, students, they feel like they are in a caring and safe environment, that it is okay to make mistakes, and that if they make mistakes, they're going to grow from them. Also, from the lens of the student, they know that the teacher is monitoring their learning, and that they are using the progress monitoring to adjust their instruction to meet their needs. And students are constantly reminded of their progress because their teacher tells them, okay, this is where you are and this is where you need to be. So students feel like they know where they are in their educational journey, and that teachers give them opportunities to be successful, which includes many opportunities for practice so that they can practice the skills until they become routine. And finally, the exceptional teaching and learning through an administrative observer. And the administrative observer should see the teacher using explicit teaching model. The lessons are appropriately scaffolded to meet student needs for optimal student learning, which would include phases of the I do, and when the teacher is teaching and giving examples, the we do, where you do things as a whole group or a small group, and then, of course, seeing individual practice, so using that explicit teaching model. Also, the administrative observer should see the teacher using clear language so that all students understand the material being presented and what is expected of them. The teacher maintains a perky pace, meaning it's perky. All kids are in tune with the lesson and are focused on what is going on. The teacher provides clear and immediate feedback and provides many opportunities throughout the lesson and throughout the day to practice what they have been taught, especially in the literacy field. The teacher uses research-based teaching strategies and data to adjust their learning, and the teacher sets high expectations for her students and for herself and follows through on those expectations and makes sure that the students know what those expectations are and communicates those expectations clearly. And the data also shows that her students are making progress. The proof is in the numbers. So exceptional learning, teaching and learning is most evident when the teacher uses direct, explicit, and systematic instruction and is aware of student needs so that she can adjust her instruction as needed. And I'm going to end this with a quote by Joe Torgeson to sort of wrap up my thoughts on exceptional teaching and learning. So the exceptional teacher teachers, the quote goes, know your stuff, know who you are stuffing, and stuff every minute of every lesson. So thank you.